All right, good morning, good evening, good night. It is another NFTYQ show. We're coming at you with the latest interviews with founders, influencers, creators, badass people from around the space. I have myself, Richard Vagner. I'm going to make sure I do that right. Founder and CEO of Spoiled Banana Society. They're doing some dope things with fantasy football leagues. I'm super stoked. I'm in my own fantasy football league, so I instantly kind of aped into this project. But I'm excited to have this conversation today with you, Rich. What's going on today, my man?
Yo, what up? Thank you so much for having me. Thank you everybody who's watching, listening. I literally was, we had an intro going. There was a bit of a time at the beginning. I had to spit. I'm a little sick, so I ran to the bathroom to spit. And as I was coming back, I literally almost ate shit and almost fell. You probably have that on recording, but other than that, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. I'm gonna clip that portion out and make sure to send it to you to maybe like play it on your personal. Like that would be something for you, just for you.
Yeah, you should.
All right, so we're gonna have a great conversation on what you guys are doing. You guys have like a live mint, so it's been on pre-sale for a little bit. You're about to have like your live public sale mint. We're gonna touch on like the overview of the project, but just in general, man, I want to start off with like your, I guess, like how you got into the space. We're gonna make our way to Bored Ape, but I'm definitely excited to talk about kind of your journey into the crypto space.
100%. I see you rocking that sexy Bored Ape jacket right there, repping the merch. I got the hat. We got to always be repping BAYC. I feel like I never take off this hat or my hoodie that I have. It's a rare sighting. I don't have the BAYC hoodie on right now, but the coolest thing, one of the coolest things is the merch from BAYC, but that's like ground level from what they've been able to build and what they've been able to do. And why I'm saying that is because the first NFT into the space was Bored Ape Yacht Club for me. I got lucky as hell. It was kind of me and my brothers. I don't know if you guys know Boris Vagner. He's my brother. He's the other founder of Spoiled Banana Society, which we'll go into. He's also my manager on the music side, so my best friend. And me and him were like getting into NFTs, wanted to get into it, just like what is this? So we thought by getting a Bored Ape, it would kind of just put us into the field and make us learn. And oh boy, did we learn! And just grateful as hell that that was it. That was a community that happened with it. That the creators were able to build so much utility upon it, and then just seeing how well that happened and how well and just what you were able to do with an NFT project as a creative and artist myself. I think the next step was just to do it myself.
So I got two quick questions. Your kind of foray into crypto happened this year, and then I also want to kind of get into Bored Ape Yacht Club. So how did you make your way into NFTs? Like, what is the first time that you heard NFTs, and why were you like, I need to be in this?
Yeah, 100%. So Bored Apes, we got three a week after mint, so it was about 8 months ago. Me and my brother, and at the time it was like $6,000 for us. I was 20K in debt. I didn't even have the money to pay for this ape. It was just a close your eyes and degen in. I'm a degen. I like sports. I like gambling, all of that stuff. Has Spoiled Banana Society, which isn't gambling actually. It's skill based game. But you
Disclaimer.
know, but but my lawyer would kill me, right? But our NFT, my NFT journey was with the apes, and what got me into it was we were in Clubhouse rooms. I don't know if you guys know Clubhouse, but it's kind of like Twitter Spaces, but the OG version. And we were just seeing a bunch of apes, and we were seeing the NFT community on there, and we were just so interested. Like, what is this thing? Had to ape in.
So I remember those Clubhouse days, and Twitter Spaces is definitely like the medium for those talks now, but Clubhouse like absolutely exploded right around the time NFTs did. So really it was kind of seeing other people like showing off the brand in the space, because there were other NFTs you could have aped into, but really it was just seeing it in Clubhouse that got you into ape specifically.
Yeah, 100%. There were other NFTs, but yeah, just the Clubhouse. I think they got swarmed with the apes. And just talking to some of the apes too, like I feel like the people who it attracted, because of what it was with them doing the whole commercial rights and IP. Like I think if you were attracted to it, you were already like a kind of, you know, special person in a good way. So everybody was really nice. Everybody was really kind, supportive, and definitely was just like it helped putting $3,000 of my own money when I was 20K in debt into it. Just the Bored Apes have a really good community, really good people. At least at that time, it was really dope.
And how do you think Bored Ape has changed since then? Since you first got in around those like point 0.8 like kind of figures, because that's when I got my ape as well. What has changed since then? And
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
I think for the most part, it's changed my life. Like, you know, not even on the financial aspect, um, just of what it's done with the IP and the creative. I dropped an NFT album 4 or 5 months after I got an ape, and then I played Ape Fest. I played all the like meetups for the apes. Because of that, other NFT projects have approached me. I've done like Omnimorph's theme song. I've done other stuff for NFT artists and projects. So just like because I got into that, changed my life in that way. Also changed my life, of course, financially. Being 20K in debt and now having apes. Just completely just changes the whole trajectory of me. Like I was an artist, like pretty not successful, but like I got to tour the world. I got to collaborate with Jaden Smith. I got to do some pretty big things, and I was still living with my folks, working Uber Eats. Like just trying to freaking make it as many artists are. So just being able to get a Bored Ape and now not have to do that is nuts. Alongside the music stuff. And then I think in terms of community, one thing, the way that it's changed really well is because they've been able to build so much cool utility upon it. It's done so well these past 8 months with the mutants, with the dogs, with the festival, like doing all of that's definitely helped it change for the better because it's all great things. But the community aspect, I think it's still amazing, and there's still so many dope people, and so many people from the beginning have held, and it's still a really dope community, like definitely hands down one of the best ones. But I think as anything would struggle with as you get bigger, there's definitely a thing of like, as Adidas comes in and as more of these corporate sponsors come in, what's going to happen? Is it going to be kind of like, is it going to turn into CryptoPunk-esque? Like this is I'm the cool kid now.
So when you say CryptoPunk-esque, for those people that don't know what's going on with kind of that community, or just like in general, kind of the vibe that's starting to happen as NFTs get more adoption, what do you mean by that? Like CryptoPunk-esque?
Yeah, well, just the CryptoPunks have been in the space for 4 years. And again, to preface all this, I've been in the space for 8 months, so I don't know shit. Like it feels like 10 years. And so like I've gone a little bit, this is just from my perspective, but from what I've, seen, the CryptoPunks, they were around 4 years ago. They were one of the first NFTs. They were the first NFT profile picture. But they didn't give full commercial rights. It's up to $100,000. Even though I've heard that if you ask for more than $100,000, they'll allow it, so you can make more. But there were just some weird things within it. And I know the community that's built over time is not as like I don't know. It's just things that I hear from an outsider's perspective, to where I hear it's a little more like about money. It's a little bit more about like, this is, the cool kids club. And if you're not in, you're not in type thing, where the apes have been more of like, hey, we're all inclusive. How do we get more people in? How do we support people getting into the space like that? But I don't know how true that is. That's just kind of from an outside perspective, what I've seen.
No, I love that, man. I think the comparison we've been making on the channel is like almost like a Bitcoin community as opposed to the Ethereum community. Like, not saying that Bitcoin is like completely trying to keep people away. They're actually doing the opposite, but it feels like Ethereum's a little bit more open in their ideas and like doing things for the culture almost.
No, 100%. Like, I think with the proof of stake and them at least caring about, hey, we probably can't be mining forever, and being open to that and changing it, or not even changing it. They started it with that, I think, right? So I definitely get that same vibes. I don't know, I'm a big believer in like the environmental impacts of everything we do as humans. I know some people in the NFT space aren't, but to me that's important. I think if we want this to be dope, one of the issues that we have to focus on is like, hey, we can't just be burning the whole world as we do it.
Absolutely, man. I love that take. I want to give a quick shout out to the community that is in the chat right now. I'm going to go one by one. Hash Rhymes, XPOW. We got a lot of Spoiled Banana Society members in here too. So SBS, SBS, let's fucking go. JSB Slam here from SBS. Love that, man. You got a lot of community members in here. Want to give you guys a shout out. This is the NFTYQ show. We're doing podcasts with right now with Richard Vagner, who's going to tell us a little bit about Spoiled Banana Society and what they're doing with fantasy football leagues. Catch us afterwards as well. Like, this is going to be on audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you guys can go check that out, that would be awesome. So we've made our way to what you've built and what you are going to continue to build. One of the dopest things about BAYC, in my opinion, is like so many people that are nice people, awesome people are winning, right? First of all, but there's all these little derivative projects. Like, you guys have 11 Bored Ape members that are creating this product. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are creating and what the plans are.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for giving me the platform to do it. And I think what you were saying is really dope. A lot of nice and a lot of awesome people are winning, and a lot of creatives and artists are being able to win, being able to like finally have a platform to be able to, make money and survive off their art. And it's just been an amazing thing to see, an amazing thing to kind of progress to this point for me. 4 months ago, I dropped my NFT album. That was awesome. And now, being getting with more apes. We're actually a team of 12 apes now. So getting with more apes, and freaking just doing a community thing is one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. And it definitely helps because there's so much that goes on with an NFT project to make it successful, to make it good. You need a lot of people, you need a lot of man hours, you need a lot of brains to be smart at what you're doing. But we're super excited at Spoiled Banana Society because NFTs have allowed us to take sports, which has been this thing that's been, really big for forever, and especially fantasy sports like fantasy football, and do a whole new kind of thing with them, a whole new rendition with them. And what NFTs have allowed for us to do, which is the coolest part, is that you're in your usual fantasy football league every single year, you have to pay again to participate. Or if you're doing DFS, which is weekly fantasy football, you have to pay every single week to participate. In our league, because of NFTs, we're able to do a league that's weekly, season long, and many years, as long as people keep playing, with prizes where you don't ever have to pay again. So you mint your team. We have 10,000 NFTs. Each NFT is an actual fantasy football team. So, instead of drafting, you would actually randomly generate your team on the blockchain. It comes with 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 5 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 2 defenses. And then every week, like you would on Yahoo or ESPN, you start your players based on how they do every week. And every season, you win ETH. But when next year comes along, you don't have to pay again, but there's still prizes. And then the next year and the next year. So this NFT keeps going. And people are probably asking, well, how the hell do they do this? This year, we're doing over $1 million in prizes and a Bored Ape for first. Next year, we're doing the same thing. So we're taking 80% of the mint and putting it back into the prizes. And people are probably asking, how the hell do we keep it going year after year after year? And that's the beauty of NFTs. Because we're able to take a percentage of the secondary of when they're traded on OpenSea, so NFTs are bought and sold, we're then able to put that back into the prize pool. So it's kind of just a community paying for their own prize pool through the buying and selling, through the participating in the league, and then also we're going to do exclusive merch. We're going to do sponsorships, and we're not stopping at football. If this works, we're going to basketball, soccer, all the different sports. There's rarity involved with 100 gold cards. And it's like definitely a new NFT fantasy football like spin on all of it. And we're super excited to get more sports people involved as their first NFTs, more NFTs people involved in the football, because the way we're doing it, you don't have to be huge into football to do it. And I've just been hearing a lot of people like, I've always wanted to get in, but it's hard because with regular fantasy football, you have waivers, you have trades, you have to draft. There's none of it. You randomly generate your team, and then all you have to know are the players on your team. You can't take anyone off. You can't add anyone. You can't, so it's definitely a simpler way to play fantasy football.
Yeah, you've got some actual athletes too. That's what's really dope about sports NFTs is because they merge with culture. So I think Baron Davis, is that who I saw? That
Yeah,
was like,
yeah, he said I copped nuts for us. We've been talking to their team, so it's just super dope that he's wanting to get into this and like wanting to get into the actual NFT communities. Because there's going to be bigger projects there's going to be bigger companies that come into the space, but I feel like where the real power is, and we've seen this in other like fields of the NFT space, like the real power is in the actual artists and the actual communities that like come together. Like BAYC, those 4 guys they weren't anything crazy before BAYC, and they made the best NFT company. It wasn't freaking Apple or Tesla. It was 4 creatives.
Yeah, it's awesome again to see like smaller teams winning at that scale. It's like kind of mind blowing to see like where we've come in the space where Bored Ape Yacht Club didn't even exist this time last year, and now the change they made. So I do want to talk about the product a little bit. We were talking before the episode, and you were like, "Don't worry about being brand new," because I got 4 of these. When I see an ape, I ape. Like that's just me. But the product is like very new, right? Like you guys have only been around for a little bit. We had a question right off the bat that was like, "Hey, why are you starting so late into the season and things like this?" So I kind of just want to talk about how it all works, right? Like I got 4 of these. Is there a reveal date? Like, is it revealed weekly? How does that how does that work out?
No, 100%. So right now, we're in pre-sale. We've sold about 2,200 cards out of the 10,000.
Congrats.
Public sale tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on our website, spoiledbananasociety.com. And then Tuesday's the reveal. So Tuesday, you're going to see on your card, your NFT, who your players are. And then you're going to be able to go on your website and actually start them. So two things. Number one, to that question, by the way, I'm so sorry. I'm so sick. I just have like, yeah, my bad. But why we're starting 4 weeks left of the season, it's still going to work. So there's going to be 4 weeks, week 15 to 18. And so if it sells out, somebody's going to win a Bored Ape at the end of it, or 100 ETH. So it's kind of an even bigger incentive for people who aren't huge into sports, because, you know, those 4 weeks, you need way less skill involved as opposed to 18 weeks of an actual fantasy season. There's weekly prizes. First place gets 3 ETH and top 100 cards get paid. And there's yearly prizes with top 100, middle 100, and bottom 100. And we've set it up to where people can mint past week 1 and still compete for the season long. They just get default to their lineup from previous weeks. So it's all sustainably built. The prizes stack up as it sells out. You know, right now, if it sells out 100 ETH to first place, if it sells 50%, 50 ETH to first place, you know, it's all sustainably built. And so we wanted to even do it earlier in the season. It takes a lot, you know, to get an NFT company going. And most of it wasn't even the NFT side. It was actually to get a fantasy football company going with the dev and all of that. Definitely took the longest. But, you know, we also wanted to promote it well. We wanted to make sure that it would do well. So it just felt right to drop it now. My brother had a kid a week ago, so we couldn't drop it then. It just feels like right now is a great time, especially when it's 1 month to win over $1 million. That's pretty nuts. Plus, we're gonna do prizes in the playoffs, and plus in the off season we're gonna go into basketball, soccer, and the next season the prizes are still there. You know, we're doing over $1 million again, that we've held back from mint. So it all I think works out.
Yeah, I want to ask some new questions real quick. I love that you guys are moving to other sports, by the way, but XPlow is hitting exactly kind of the questions that I was wondering, because you mentioned, okay, you get the reveal. It's not like an ad drop process, because that's where my mind goes. Like XPlow is saying, what if we met someone from the Detroit Lions? Do we get a refund? Which is exactly like my thought process. Like, okay,
running back.
Yeah,
that's expensive card right there. You know, I want all the Swift.
So if my player gets hurt, or like maybe I don't like the team that I get, like how does that, is it like new each season or each week?
So number one, I hear you. If you get Jared Goff, you should burn that card. You should leave NFTs. You should leave sport. You should probably just leave your house and go take a really long walk. But I'm just kidding. I just, from LA, I've seen Jared Goff play here. You know, it's been iffy. I'm sorry, Lions fans, you guys got him. You know, big ups to LA for getting Stafford. He's killing it. But so the cool thing that we did was, instead of doing a player, you get a team in a position. So instead of doing Jared Goff, you get Detroit quarterback. And so there'll always be a Detroit quarterback. If he gets injured, if he retires, there'll always be someone in the Detroit quarterback position. And the way that works on a weekly thing is you just get the top performing scorer of that. So let's take it to Kansas City wide receiver. So if you have Kansas City wide receiver, if Tyreek Hill scores 20 points and Mecole Hardman scores 10 points, you'll get Tyreek's 20 points. That's it. It's not a combined of all the receivers. It's just the top scoring receiver that week. So you'll get, your card. It'll reveal with the 15 properties, 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 5 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 2 defenses. It'll literally show on your NFT card. And then every week, you get 2 quarterbacks. You have to start one. So let's say you get Kansas City quarterback and Detroit Lions quarterback. You're going to start the Kansas City quarterback. When Patrick Mahomes scores 25 points, you're going to get his 25 points.
Got it. Okay.
If he gets injured or retires, and they draft someone new, whoever that new person is, if he plays that game and scores 25 points, you'll get that person's 25 points.
Dude, this is almost really, really cool, because it's enticing secondary sales based on your knowledge of football, right? So if I get that and say, like, I think that maybe Jared Goff's going to be good in 2 or 3 years, I might want to hold it. Or, I might want to go up on the secondary market and say, who has a one with like the Packers quarterback, or the next, like Mac Jones, for example. Like, I think he's going to be good for the next 10 years. So I go on secondary market, and that's where I'm adding and dropping players almost.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool thing to see how this all plays out in OpenSea. 2 things with that. Number one, we got really lucky that the contract is super cheap, so the gas is going to be really low. People were minting their NFTs for like $18. Some dude got like $6 for $54. I just know that that's a big thing, especially if we're on the Ethereum blockchain. And so I'm just really thankful for our devs. Shout out our devs who made the contracts really, really cheap. So it's going to be really cool to just see all the trades happening, because I think with the gas, it's actually going to be doable. And then number two, the cool thing is that, like, with Detroit Lions, like, let's say, because he sucks, that team's going to suck. So, they're going to have a big draft pick. They're going to get a new quarterback, probably the first overall. In a couple of years, that card's probably going to be crazy because they suck. So there's all these things that you can do to kind of bet for the future. And then also the craziest part is that every single year we pay out the last 100 cards. And if you get last place, you get 10 ETH. So that Detroit Lions card is literally worth 10 ETH probably. That or the New York Jets card. Shout out Gary Vee.
So you could like potentially get like a whole list of New York, like you could have the quarterback, the running back, and then like the Detroit Lions wide receiver, and then that is last place, and you're good to go. See it.
Yeah, you're good. You don't even have to check. You don't have to do anything. As long as you get a couple Detroit, a couple Jets, it's guaranteed, right?
We're hating on the Jets and Lions a lot. We're gonna try to stay off of them a little bit, but
I actually like the Lions. One of our co-founders, huge Lions fan. Shout out Nifty. He sucks at fantasy football if he watches this, but shout out the Lions.
I love it, man. All right, I've got a couple questions from the community. It's awesome that we do these live. I love just getting questions from the community. So if you guys have any, just drop them. Jacob O'Connor is asking, what percentage royalties are you doing on OpenSea?
Yeah, so the percentage is 7.5%. And then again, most of that just goes back to the prize pool and running the league. So definitely excited for that percentage.
Okay, and I've got a quick question, just more details as far as the drop and like your features are concerned. If you get a certain percentage, you were talking about there being potentially like a Bored Ape winner. Just how does that all work with like the weekly prizes? I know I saw something up to like 40K in prizes a week or something like that.
Yeah. So we have if it sells out, I think the weekly what we're giving is 13.7 ETH. That's with the top 100 cards, and then there's also 100 gold cards, where the 100 gold cards let you compete in all the prizes, but all that I just mentioned for every week, every season, but it also lets you compete in only the 100 gold cards, compete every week and every season in their own league. Top 10 get paid every week, and top 10 get paid every season, with the first place getting 20 ETH or a mutant. So with that gold card tournament, and if you have a gold card, you can compete in the 100 top every single week for 3 ETH, and the 100 top for 100 ETH first place. I'm saying with the gold card, you're just pretty much competing in more tournaments for more money. So it's a really good card. There's nothing different on it. It just looks gold. We want to provide some rarity. But what was the question? I'm so sorry.
I was just talking about like reward details, right? Like based on the percentage that is
Oh
selling.
yeah. Sorry. So 75% we're giving a Bored Ape. That's when the Bored Ape is confirmed. 10% of sales was we're gonna do weekly and season long prizes. We passed that. And then everything's pegged. So like the first place getting 100 ETH, depending on how much we sell, I think right now we're at 22%, so it's 22 ETH. It's like 100,000 for first place right now. And then everything's just a percentage based, all done pretty sustainably. There's a top 100 every week that get paid if it sells out. There's top 100, middle 100, and last 100 that get paid out every season. So if you place the 5,000th card that season, you get 10 ETH. Mm-hmm. And if you're the 10,000th card that season, you get 10 ETH. So a lot of chances to win.
So there's some like financial pieces that are tied up in this, right? Like you guys are raising a good amount of money through the mint, hopefully, right? So being able to place that in like maybe like a passive income type of situation where you can like gain more ETH or gain more cash or whatever, and then put that back into whatever treasury. Like there's like down mechanics to this, of course. So are you guys planning on doing that? So if you raise like hypothetically 200 ETH or something like that, are you going to be putting that into some like passive income where you're getting more for the treasury?
All right, I get what you're saying. So our plan was to buy it all in Bored Apes because we believe in it so much, 12 Bored Apes. So that's definitely an option. We could do that. I think when we sell 75%, we're going to automatically do that for the winner. But then also we're thinking to do that for next year's prize and to do that for all the extra ETH we have. That's not this year, because if we buy a Bored Ape, then we're going to have to sell it when we have to pay out. It's going to be a little weird. Mm-hmm. But I do definitely think there's ways, we're all collectors first. Well, that's how we got into the space in a sense. So I think we all kind of are intrigued of how we can use this money to make more money in a sense. But, we all want it to be sustainably. We want it to be done right. We don't just want to make a token in a sense. Like we want it all to, if we're going to do it, to be done really well, Because
No,
I believe ETH as well, like just keeping it in ETH also could make that shit go crarazy. There's a lot of things we can do.
yeah, it's almost like a treasury management, right? Like for people that are not familiar with maybe DAOs and that setup, like honestly, fantasy football is one of the original DAOs where that most people are kind of cooperating with. Like if you're talking with your friends on messaging system and there's some money being set here and there, you're almost in a pseudo DAO. So to set up one
Wow.
for fantasy football, that's fucking dope. So
No,
I,
you're right.
I've got a couple questions here. So past like the weekly prizes, I'm looking at the website now. Exclusive access to future SBS NFTs, exclusive virtual and IRL community events, merch, partnerships. What do you got planned?
Yeah, 100%. So we want to, make this be more than just a fantasy football league. We want, because it's an NFT, we wanted to kind of do everything that projects do with NFTs, you know, as well as have the fantasy football aspect. 80% goes back to prizes, be the actual utility. People can be like, okay, this, I know what I'm getting. But also we want to do everything that NFT projects do, whether that's festivals, metaverse events, whether that's like poker games. We did poker games. We did a huge poker game with Gutter Cats, Crypto Dads, Omnimorph, Shrill Saturday Player Nights of Degen. Over 1,000 people came. It was free for everyone. People won NFTs at the end, community events, other leagues we're going to do, like I was saying. But outside of the leagues, like I'm a musician. I want to do festivals. I want to do concerts. I want to freaking just have meetups, have like everything that comes with an NFT, kind of having that community, having that access. And then also, airdrops are, we have an artist and art director, animator, art director, who's a co-founder on the team, Jack, insanely talented, just to do art with him. And, just do everything to facilitate to where it becomes an awesome NFT project. And then the prizes are like actual income that people can make by just owning the cards.
This is just a personal question for me because we often talk about how NFTs have all of this utility. It's almost like ever expanding. There is no like cap on what utility you can provide. How do you keep track of all that as a founder? Like we want to do this, that, all of these things. How do you make sure that everything is kind of in line and you're attacking the right things?
Yeah, 100%. I think that, you kind of just got to wake up every morning and see what there is to do and just do it practically. That's the way I view it. I mean, my morning wake is usually I answer a bunch of DMs from people, and then I'm like, okay, what do we got to do next? And then, eventually you'll wake up one morning, there'll be nothing to do next, and you'll say, all right, what can we do next? And then you'll go, okay, let's freaking do a festival. But all those things I think just come with more community, with more funds to be able to do stuff like that. Just as things grow, just naturally being, I want to have fun. I'm gonna make a festival. I want to have fun. I'm gonna make a metaverse place for us to hang out. It's just the natural thing. I like poker, but like it's just a natural thing that comes in my life that I would want to do with this community.
It's still amazing to me that none of this existed a year ago. I know we talked about that earlier, but like, what were we all doing before these PFP communities and all these NFT communities? Like, I can't even.
Dude, I was trying to freaking be a starving musician. You know what I mean?
Facts. Yeah, let's talk about that. I want to get into like that music side because the music part of the NFT industry, of course, is like popping off as well. But before we do that, man, like anything else other than what we talked about as far as Spoiled Banana Society that you want to get out? Like I know mint price was a question. It's 0.08, I believe, correct?
Yep, zero point zero 0.080. There's 10,000 of them. And then, yeah, the public sale is tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And no, I think we touched on everything. And again, like we want it to be a dual thing to where like if you're not crazy into football, that's okay. We'll give you who we think you should start every week. It'll say like their weekly previous weekly averages. So you'll kind of know who you probably should start. And then, we want it to be to where it's more than just the prizes. Like it's a bigger thing. So you don't have to be crazy into sports. And then also on the flip end, if you are crazy into sports and you're not into NFTs, this could be a good chance to get into NFTs. And then, so we're kind of just trying to get a bunch of people converted to a bunch of different things naturally with what we're doing. But no, thank you for having me on and giving me the platform to talk about the project. I think the community we're building there is super dope with people like you, and it's just awesome to see it all unfold.
Dude, I can't wait for the reveal, man. And like honestly, fantasy football is something that we always talk about. The craziest thing that me and one of my co-founders Crypto Buffalo talk about, because he's involved in a fantasy football league, is how much time we spent relative to the amount of money we make is like very,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? It's like outsized almost. Like we're spending like almost what, like 50 hours maybe, and then you get like $100 if you, or maybe 1,000. But yeah, you kind of get what I'm talking about there.
100%. No, I'm in the 13 leagues. Um, so it's definitely way too much time. Luckily, I made the playoffs. I only care about 12 of them, so I made the playoffs in 11 out of 12 of them. So pretty good, you know. I will say, hopefully, I win a lot of money for the time I put in. Realistically, how this goes, I've been here before. It won't happen,
Mm.
but you know, a man can pray.
12 out of 13 leagues. Well, I guess I'm not going to win that much in Spoiled Banana Society, but we'll see.
Well,
I'm
if you
only
go
in one
first,
league, and I didn't even make the playoffs. So
well, with SBS, if you didn't make the playoffs, here's your chance to play. That's what we're trying to say. You know, if you suck and you didn't make the playoffs, not saying you suck, but you know, if you didn't make the playoffs, um, this is kind of like the if you want to keep playing, but you didn't make the playoffs, this is a good way to do it.
dope. All right, we're going to hop out real quick. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for today's episode, Society of the Hourglass. They're doing 8,888 NFT characters. They just recently had a partnership with Jump Cut Media, so they're doing a bunch of things to bring NFTs to Hollywood. They're doing a lot of dope things. So if you jump into the description, you can check out what they're building. Hashcoos, the overall umbrella. They're just starting with this first mint of Society of the Hourglass. Really, honestly, like sick NFTs and dope art, pre-sale access utility, and a lot of different things come down the line with what Hashku is building. Of course, like again, Society of the Hourglass, really their first drop. So super stoked to have them as sponsors on today's episode. All right, you talked about music NFTs. You talked about being a starving artist. Tell me about that music background, man, and like what music NFTs have meant to you. We're going to just touch on a little bit of that industry before we hop out and touch on more of your project.
Yo, you didn't hear me blowing my nose during that ad read, no?
No, but I'm coughing a bunch, so we're just struggling through this episode here.
Okay. I'm glad I didn't make it in. You know, definitely struggling, but it's a fun one for sure. I'm loving it. But yeah, music. You know, my whole life just been a musician. I started playing violin when I was like 8 in orchestra. Didn't learn anything for like the first 5 years. Then later on, got a private tuner. Private tutor taught me like how to play the violin. Actually, you know, stayed in orchestra. When in high school, I went to a public school that had a music academy. Was there for 2 years. I dropped out. Then I started like being like, oh, classical music's boring. Got into learning how to play the guitar, piano, drums, bass, producing, and then started just producing more. Went on tour with a bunch of artists, like playing violin and guitar live with them. Produced a bunch of records. Got Grammy nominated. That was recent, but when the song we did was before NFT, it was like a year ago when we did it before NFTs. We just got Grammy nominated for it, so it counts as before my NFT thing. But yeah, thank you, appreciate it. So that's cool. But even with all that being said, you know, got to produce for Jaden Smith, as I was saying. Got to play Red Rocks. Got to freaking go like been to every state. Been to outside of the America. But even with all that said, bro, I was literally working Uber Eats in LA, and living with my folks. So like, it's just nuts how hard it is. Even if you're straight up talented, I'm not saying I am or anything, but it's just nuts how much you can do and how much hard work you can put and literally get nowhere in the music world and the artist world, just in the whole creative world. So it's really special to see NFTs come along, and like it really is a thing to where like, if you want it, you can have it in a sense. Like if you really want it, if you want to be an artist as your career, you know, you can take the time to get into all those communities, to make those connections, to freaking dive deep into the space, and the space will literally support you, and then you can drop your stuff. You know, so many people are coming into it where they're just dropping their own stuff without getting involved in the space, and that, you know, is a big way. It's a big no-no, and then people get like they're like, screw this space, I can't sell anything, it's not really for artists. But like if you do it the right way, it really can make your career. Like I fully believe that. I did Boombox Warfare, which is a song off one of the artists that I toured with, Shateska. Shout out Shateska. we collaborated on music. We also toured, and he and Jaden Smith hit us up to be in a song because he does a lot of environmental work. Jaden Smith's big on that too. So I produced that song. And then also the Grammy nominated one that I co-produced was with Soja. If you guys know Soja, they're a big reggae band. I love them too. Hell, they're funny enough that Shateska dude, I was touring with him. Soja was the headlining band, and they were like, because I was playing violin, they're like, hey, can you come and play violin with us for a song every night as we were touring? And then at the end of the tour, they were like, yo, come fly out and let's produce a song together. This was like before NFTs, before nothing. And then turns out it's a Grammy nominated like album and freaking all this. So just hella grateful for that whole thing. Yeah, high as hell. I, yo, my folks are here. You know, they make bomb food. You know, come through. My Russian parents and Russian grandma don't bite. I'm still living with my folks. And you know that's a choice. I can sell a name and not have to. You know, but I think I'd rather. I like my parents, but I'm moving out. I'm moving out soon. So when I move out, that might be a better time, bro. You know, this I don't know.
Sorry guys, I was completely muted. I was just I'm
He
gonna
was just
TL
talking
I'm gonna
shit.
TLDR that real quick. I just hit on some comments, of course. I love Soja, all that stuff. So that was basically it.
He was
Thank.
just talking shit at the chat.
Oh yeah, I was talking shit to all y'all at home. No, I'm just kidding. So DP is saying it's a must that you enter the space organically. I love that comment. I do want to touch on art, or I guess like music in the NFT industry. I'm much more of a gamer, collector. I've never been blessed. I just God did not bless me with any musical ability, at least any that I capitalized on.
Definitely not true. I'm sure you get like some finger drums or
I,
something.
I
We
can
can get it
I
out of
can
you.
play a little bit, maybe if I'm in the right mindset. But I do want to touch on the music industry. I feel like it's super well documented in a sense. Like most people know that artists have been taken advantage of in the music industry. It's just been super loud. I feel like comparative to like other scenes, maybe like the art scene and things like this. So music industry, not that familiar. Touch on how it kind of changes the ability to like utilize NFTs as a musical artist, and then give us some like alpha, man. Like I'm not in the music scene. I know about Audius. I know about a couple of these other projects in crypto, and you know just the broader NFT scene. Would love to hear from like someone on the front lines. What project should I be looking at? You know, just from interest standpoint.
Yeah, 100%. I think um I think that it's a very interesting um like playing field. I'm kind of just gonna ramble here and just throw off some fucking thoughts on the off the top. You know, like I think that it's still so early in a sense that there is no even roadmap or there is no successful way to do music NFTs. There's no there's no one way to do it, and there's no real right way to do it. Meaning, and what I'm really saying by that is like that means 99.9% of them are kind of wrong in a sense. Like there's a problem with it. Like I haven't seen one thing where it's like this is it. Like I everything there's been I've had a problem with any way you do it, you know. Any way, even with my album, like any way you do it right now, there's no like you Spotify, you know, Spotify we know is legit, or like CD Baby is the company that gets your song to Spotify, to iTunes, to all these platforms. We know that's legit. I make an album and then I freaking go and I upload it, and you know it goes to all these platforms and bam, people listen to them, and that's it. For NFTs and music, it's so freaking just like what is going on. You know, I made an album on Rarible. People can only listen to it on Rarible. You know, the next succession I want, and person, the real powerful thing about like music and NFTs is that then what I should be doing and what I'm gonna do, I just kind of have to wait for that album to sell out first. Is then I would take that music and put it on Spotify and iTunes, and then every single time it gets played, instead of paying me or paying my record label, I'm gonna pay the people who own the music. Like that's really when it's gonna blow up. When that kind of thing mechanic is really great, because right now for me to do that, I would have to make a token. I would have to pay them out in that token. Like there's no real way I can uh, see who owns that song. There's no like automated way for me to be like, these are the people who own the song. This is how much money I've made from these songs being played. this is what I can send them, whether that's ETH or whatever, and then this is me sending them. Whoever comes up with that is gonna win. Like, can you imagine you go and you buy a song, you buy like the rights to the song pretty much, and now you own it. Like, let's say Drake, Too Sexy. Um, and then now every time Too Sexy gets played on the radio and on YouTube and on Spotify, you're literally in your freaking account, your bank account is making money. So now you're going to tell all your friends about Drake. That's on a bigger artist level. On a smaller artist level, think about if you owned my songs, you can tell all your friends, because the bigger I get and the more people that get my NFTs and the more people who listen to my music and the more people who, appreciate me, you're literally going to actually get money from them listening, from the NFT going up, from them coming to the shows, from the merch. Like, there's so much things you can do, and there's nobody's doing it right. Like, I know Royal and freaking what's his name, Blau. I haven't looked into the project, so that's just where I'm at with that. Like, I haven't really deep dived. I know that they're trying to do that. If they're doing what I just said well, then yeah, that should be it. Like, I know they have crazy funding, like Logic's in there. They have huge names. But again, like, it's such a new space and it's so fragile that like you really have to do it right. Even with my projects, Bob and Society, like, people have done NFTs with sports, but it's so new that like I think they did like one wrong thing and that completely messed up the whole project. Like, that's how fragile it is. Like, every angle has to be right for it to really blow up. Kind of what happened with the Bored Apes. So like,
dude, this conversation's sick. Like, basically what you're saying is like everybody that's creating a project right now is doing it in like a segmented way. Whereas it's almost like if you wanted to listen to Drake, you would have to like go to his website and like just have it through that, as opposed to getting it through like one platform. But then even within that, the discussion is, isn't that getting back to like more centralized, where one company is like doing a bunch of this stuff?
yeah, but at the end of the day, I mean, we're just gonna have to have, like, at the end of the day, there's sure negatives with that, but it's so convenient. Like, all my music's on Spotify. I wouldn't trade that for anything. Like, that's just so convenient for me as a consumer. And there are problems with that, but I think the bigger problem really is, then now if you've done that, like with Royal, now they need marketing, they need people to go there, they need user base, they need people to come there. Like, let's even like step back and be like, all right, now how is this going to succeed? Why is this going to be the winning project? If I'm going to invest my money into it. So it's like, there's so many kind of like nuances that I think have prevented it really to blow up. But the first people who come in, and who knows, fuck, that might be me. Like, I've learned a lot from my NFT album. I just don't have the platform yet to do it, and I don't have the funds and I don't have the devs, or I don't have anything like that. But the first person who comes in and does like a one-stop shop for like artists to upload music, people to buy music, funds to be able to transfer, people to play music, all of that. I mean, it's just gonna go fire, because it's like owning your records. It takes you back to like actually owning collections.
There's a whole nother aspect of adoption there, right? If you're on the radio and you're able to say, I own this, like, so many people are going to want to do that. That's really crazy.
It's definitely it's like why people own anything, it's like, why do people own their house? It's just like, at the end of the day, I mean, a flaunt, right? Like,
yeah, it's a little bit of a flex for sure.
Like,
we could all live in like small houses that give us like like the shelter and the food and all this stuff, but instead we live in all different sizes of houses and oftentimes outside of the means.
Yeah, it's a flex, and then some of them are less flexy and more investments and more actual smart things. And I think NFTs, there's going to be the same thing with any market. There's going to be flexes and there's going to be actual smart investments. The hardest thing is that everybody, or most people, not everybody, that's messed up. A lot of people coming into the space who are already established, because it's such a hard thing to really figure out, like really put like, I'm 8 months in it and I kind of have it figured out, but not even. So like, because it's so hard to really figure out what's happening, a lot of them just come in, they get their cash grab. It's not even that they're there to cash grab. It's just like the easiest thing. It's like, oh fuck, I got to learn how to manage a Discord and how to like build the community and how to do the events. No, I'd rather just sell this thing out and leave. So it definitely sucks, because a lot of people coming in the space, like, what was the Migos thing that just happened? Little Uzi Vert did the same thing. We have these big rappers, we have these big artists coming in and then just like literally taking money from their fans and then bouncing and not continuing to do stuff in the space. But at the end of the day, that's just setting someone up again to come in and just killing it. Like it's like the crypto punks with Bored Apes. Crypto punks were like in the space for 4 years, but it didn't really blow up until the apes came in, and that's because the apes came in with this like commercial rights thing, club, like they brought it all together in a much better way, in a much better image, to make the space blow up. And that's kind of what's going to happen, I think, with some music person. I don't know if it's a record label. I think what's really cool about it is that the power is really in the small artists' hands. Like,
yeah,
at least some of them, and I guess we'll just see who wins. But it's insane. It's literally like the evolution of humanity playing out in front of us. Like, are the corporate people gonna continue winning, or like are the bottom people gonna get on top? We'll see.
Well, that's another piece, right? You mentioned Spotify and how convenient it is. If they kind of get into the front of it, as someone's in the CEO's ear or what have you, they could be the ones that come in and try to create that platform, right? They just integrate some type of NFT system. So,
no, 100%. I just, with that said, like we've seen these companies come in, and it's just, how are they going to do? Are they going to make their own chain? Are they going to have a whale wallet like Coinbase, and then all the other things are under it? It's like, what do they do? If they hit OpenSea and they hit the Ethereum blockchain, it's over. Yeah. But like, I don't know but like all these companies are getting talked into like, and there's great purposes for it, and it's amazing, but like Immutable X and like Polygon and hitting like Solana and Cardano and doing their own chains like Flow and all of that stuff, which is amazing. And I think there's a place for it all, and it's dope. I'm not like talking shit on them, but I just think that whoever does it with Ethereum and OpenSea, because of the user base, it's just over. Like, it's gonna go like wildfire.
Yeah, the network effect is like already set up there. That makes perfect sense. So we went down a huge rabbit hole, a very important rabbit hole though, and I have one kind of last question there. But Decon's got a cool comment. He's saying there could be a central vendor that was a decentralized waypoint where people could deposit their NFTs and get paid. So kind of a balance there, right? Like, you have the centralized piece, but where everyone can go, but it's in a decentralized fashion. Dude, the biggest thing the last question I had as far as this rabbit hole combo is concerned is copyright. Like, like I said, I'm not an artist. It never just interested me when it came to like copyright or in any way, kind of shape or form. But we saw Artifact recently had a huge sale, and they're like getting lit up on Twitter because they have like some back end, right, like requirements where it's like, you can't use this artifact, you can't create a derivative, you can't do all these different things. What is your take on copyright as it stands now with NFTs in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's so it's this fine balance, right, from a creator, because I fully believe that anybody should do anything they want with it. But then I realized, oh, what if someone makes a Hitler thing with it? Like, and that's my brand being with Hitler, and I've said anybody can do anything what they want with it. So as much as decentralization is amazing, I don't know, it's really hard, bro. I as a 22-year-old, I fucking battle with this every day, just like the concepts of like, is decentralization or centralization better? Also, because my parents came from Russia, and I've seen the Soviet Union fall apart, and that's not even to talk shit on Russia, that's more to talk shit on America and all the other countries making kind of like a decentralized type of country fall apart. So kind of what I'm saying in that is that, like, even if you have a decentralized thing, as long as there's centralized things around it, they'll always attack that decentralization thing and try to make it more centralized. So like, there's this crazy thing that's happening. What I don't even know. I think this is human like evolution, and this is human like shit. Like, are we born with evil? Are we good? Like, I don't even think this is the company's fault or anything like that. I think this comes down to like a human level of like, how do we deal with, bad things, and how do we deal with people wanting greed and control and power, and we have to find ways to prevent that from happening. And I do think some of that comes with centralization. I mean, you kind of need some people or a body of people to be like, no, Bill Gates, you can't make over fucking $10 billion this year. Like, no, this person can't die if this person's making $1 trillion. Like, you do need that buffer, because if not, we clearly see humans are greedy and like, we'll literally just, and whether or not that's humans, whether or not that's the system set in place by humans or by something else or whatever, what I'm saying? Like, this shit gets deep.
It gets deep real quick. We're going to have like a part 2 of this convo here. That is one of the cool things about NFTs. And also, we're talking about balance a lot, right? Like, there's good and bad things. You mentioned that multiple times. one of the awesome things about the NFT and crypto space is almost like a religion, right? Like people, once some people buy into like that decentralization, they're like zealots. Like everyone's just like so awesome to each other, and it's because we know the other person believes what we do in a way. So it's almost like going to church.
No, it's definitely because if you are not in the NFT space and you talk about apes, people think you're crazy and they're like, "What?
Mhm.
A picture of an ape on the internet?" So like when you do find someone who actually is like, "Oh yeah, the floor is 30 ETH," you're like, "Okay, you know what I'm talking about. All right, let's
Mm.
talk about it." It's just definitely that sense of community, and that sense of like we know about this when the rest of the world doesn't, and um that's what's been special about the space the past 8 months. It's definitely going to be interesting how it develops as more people come in, as these big corporations come in and get newer people into NFTs. What does the space become? Again, the battle of like staying community, but also trying to make a lot of money and going corporate. I think the Bored Apes are dealing with this right now as well with the Adidas thing. Like at least a lot of people have mentioned that, like, yo, why are they going after for Adidas instead of like promoting some like one of their apes shoe lines, like it definitely but like that helps all the apes, right?
Yeah,
Our floor goes
adoption.
up.
Yep.
So it's this battle of trying to get bigger but also trying to stay community driven and trying to stay dope.
Yeah, man, we were like deep in a philosophical discussion here on what's like good, what's bad, and all these different things. So,
I hit the weed pen before this. I shouldn't have. We got off completely off topic.
nah, you needed it, man. This was a great convo.
I
Uh,
love
Honestly, Spoiled Banana Society. I already have 4 of these NFTs. You guys should definitely give it a look. The mint is going to go live tonight, the public sale mint. It's going to be 0.08 ETH, and that's going to get you access to their fantasy football league in perpetuity. There's all these types of different rewards. Appreciate y'all staying until the end. Decon's in the chat saying Crypto Cult for the win. Rich, before you go, man, I always ask a book recommendation question to any of my guests. So if you have any book recommendations, could be crypto, non-crypto. If you don't, any music as well, man, you just hit me with something before we let you go.
Dude, that is a good question. I haven't read a book in like 7 years. I'm not even gonna lie.
Ah,
Um, I'm sorry. And I see you got the bookshelf behind you, so that was just complete cringe answer. I should have lied and just went with, To Kill a Mockingbird or something. But a music recommendation, I can give you a music recommendation. Listen to Kendrick Lamar. Listen to his whole discography, and then if you do, you're a real one. But thank you so much for having me on the show, man. I appreciate you, everybody, for listening. Cult Gang, sorry, Crypto Cult Gang, not a cult gang, just in general. But it's not a cult. It's not a gang, actually. What did he say? Crypto cult or what? Crypto
yeah,
gang?
Crypto Cult for the win.
Crypto cult for the win. Okay, he said it, so we're good. We're good. But yeah, man, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm so glad we got deep into this philosophical talk. It's the most interesting part about the space. I just kind of give so many pitches on Spoiled Banana Society, so, every time I'm on shows. So this has been one of the most fun ones I've done. That we actually get to go into music and go into all this stuff. So just appreciate, you giving me this platform and being willing to go down this rabbit hole.
Dude, I appreciate you stopping by, man. We're going to have ourselves a good talk, hopefully, after I end the stream here as well. So we're going to have to let you guys go. Make sure you check out To Kill a Mockingbird there as well. We will be following the public sale mint tonight. You guys be there. Appreciate you stopping by. See you next time.
Peace, guys.